Welcome, and thanks for joining us for our new on-demand series, Innovation with Tech During COVID-19, where we explore how our customers and partners have innovated to combat challenges posed by this current pandemic, challenges around remote work, financial constraints, and healthcare needs, through building new applications, forging new partnerships, or using technology in a new way. I'm Janet Brown, Director of our Portfolio Marketing team here at Relativity. I'll be moderating today's webinar with Barbie Harmon, Tony Lamacchia, and Michelle Martinez from Freeport McMoran. Freeport is an energy and mineral-based company that has been in operations over 100 years. So a little about our panelists. Barbie has been with Freeport for over 28 years. For the past 15, Barbie has been a senior paralegal, providing litigation support to the environmental and litigation lawyers. In this role, she coordinates and manages document collection, organization, and coding projects that relate to environmental and litigation matters. Michelle has worked for Freeport for 20 years in the legal and IT departments. She has been in her current evolving position of legal information systems specialist for the past 10 years. Her responsibilities include preserving legal hold data, collecting and processing electronic data for use cases and investigations, and administering the department's software. Tony is the Director of Global Discovery and Litigation for Freeport. He earned his Juris Doctor from Michigan State University in 1999 and has been employed with Freeport for over 10 years, where he's managed complex corporate litigation and e-discovery. So today we're going to discuss how the onset of COVID-19 resulted in the Freeport team quickly migrating data into RelativityOne to respond to financial constraints and the results that their team has seen to date from that transition. So thank you for joining Barbie, Tony, and Michelle.
Hi, Janet.
Great, let's dig in. Tony, let's start with you. So Freeport has been a Relativity client for several years, and in 2019, you made the decision to move to RelativityOne. Can you talk about what your role was in that decision and why you decided to champion the move to the cloud?
Sure, absolutely. So some quick background, as you mentioned, and I've been with the company for 10 years, and when I started, the company had allowed our attorneys to select the platform of choice for e-discovery. So when I came on board, we decided to restructure how that process worked. We vetted different technologies, and we ended up choosing Relativity as our platform of choice. All was well and good over the past 10 years, but what we did find is that we were still spending quite a bit of money on hosting data, and that's probably because of obviously data growth over time, right? So as a corporation, we're always looking for ways to effectively manage our spend. So I had made a case to move to RelativityOne, and we signed a contract with Relativity in September of 2019. However, we didn't use it right away. We were slow moving into RelativityOne for a little bit. While we were excited to start using it and start saving some money, we took a measured approach, so we didn't disrupt any active litigation matters. We were waiting for the right time to minimize, again, any potential disruption to our cases, to our lawyers, that would be caused by moving data from any external vendors who are managing our Relativity databases to our new RelativityOne platform.
Got it. And you mentioned in our conversations that COVID-19 played a role in accelerating that transition. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yes, yeah, it definitely did play a role. While we were slow moving data into RelativityOne, once COVID hit, that really changed the game for us. Like many corporations during the pandemic, we needed to curtail costs. And the one thing that we looked at where we could do that immediately was to eliminate these hosting fees. And that was, again, instrumental into that cost savings mode that we found ourselves in. So a bit about Freeport to kind of provide more context. We're a heavily regulated industry with much of our litigation is long lived, with some cases going on 5, 10, even 20 years. So a constant spend for us on e-discovery is that baseline need for e-discovery services is not going away. There's always data. There's always the need to manage that data, to process it, to put it into a platform so our attorneys can review and respond to discovery. So again, looking at ways to manage that constant spend in the e-discovery world, we realized we needed to use our RelativityOne investment and use it right away. So we started moving data over. In terms of cost savings, we saved upwards of $463,000 in 2020, and we're poised to save an additional $290,000 in the coming 3 months. For a total savings of nearly $753,000 in processing, analytics, and hosting fees.
Wow, that's great. Thanks for sharing that background, Tony. I know all legal and IT departments are always under pressure to really be managing their costs, and that only became a stronger pressure over the last 11 months. So now that you've started moving data into the platform, Michelle, what has been your team's experience?
Yeah, well, Barbie and I have worked really closely during this transition to RelativityOne, because in the past, our worlds of paper review, which is Barbie's main focus, and then the data collections that I did were in a silo. But now we have full control of our platform. We're able to get insight into all of the cases and able to utilize the same processes to just streamline all of our discovery, which also brought the opportunity to utilize internal resources for our first level reviewers, reducing additional costs there. And we're also really looking forward to the value of our benefit for data reuse. So utilizing the repository workspaces so that we can limit data collections over time, particularly with our perpetual custodians, which has been particularly useful right now as we're decommissioning our previous email archive system, which allows legal hold data to have been exported from that system. And then as data is needed for those custodians, we're able to process it into Relativity and push it to any new case as appropriate, so that we're only doing that process once, which results in a huge time savings, as well as just that cost savings of processing and hosting the same data for multiple uses.
Great. I love to hear about that type of collaboration across your teams to implement something like this. So Barbie, first, then going back to you, Michelle, what are some of the key learning points your teams took from this transition?
One of the key takeaways is that it's important to have a partner of record who has worked with us in the past, and they know how we work, and we trust them, and we can trust that they can jump in when needed. For example, we have an outside law firm in one of our matters that is extremely needy, and I've delegated all of those requests to the partner of record for them to handle. And it's also nice to be able to use or access all of our data in one place, so we can see all of our cases as we pull up a Rel1. It just makes it so much easier, so that we know that we can repurpose data from one workspace to another.
Yeah, and prior to RelativityOne, our team was really focused on both ends of the EDRM, but we really didn't have any insight or handling in the middle piece. So this transition to RelativityOne has provided us the ability, the knowledge, and the tools to be able to handle a matter end to end, which is very empowering, just to know that we have the tools and the partners to handle all of our discovery needs. And to that end, I can't thank Relativity customer service and support teams enough. The amount of knowledge, the people, and the availability to just guide us through any type of implementation is just beyond impressive. We're having someone to advise us on best practices, or just brainstorm on different processes that our team has been able to work with, has just been invaluable in this process.
That's great to hear. So sounds like fantastic progress over the last couple of months. Really great, quick work in both in the implementation and actually already seeing results. So what's next? What does the future hold for your teams?
Well, we're really looking forward to just being able to handle small matters and our internal investigations entirely internally. And as a matter of fact, just last week, we were able to do one of those cases from beginning to end and pushed out of production last Friday. So it was really, really nice to have that control and just to be able to do it all at once.
Really great stuff.
Yeah.
Very impressive to see the results all of you have delivered for your team, especially during this very difficult time. So thank you, Michelle, Tony, and Barbie for joining me today. Very fun to learn about how you've used RelativityOne and excited to see what you accomplish in the future.
Thanks, Janet.
Thanks.
Yep, thanks, Janet.